Each and every fan base in the SEC, aka God's gift to collegiate athletics, is a unique collective of Southern souls. Some are alumni who paid tens of thousands of dollars for that piece of paper on their wall, and some bought a t-shirt at Walmart. But this hybrid fan base can be very difficult for people outside the South to understand. They always ask the same question. You didn't even go to school there, so why are you a fan? Because in the South, college football fandom is usually not something you get to choose. It is inherited. It's kind of like a family heirloom that is passed down from generation to generation like a handmade patchwork quilt. Sometimes that quilt is pristine and proudly displayed for everyone to see. And sometimes that quilt is cursed garbage. But that is the beauty of SEC fandom. It's just a bunch of quilts, each one of them unique in their own special way and absolutely capable of smothering you with their passion. So today, I am ranking all 16 SEC fan bases based on how annoying they can be when that passion goes unchecked. But real quick before we get started, I just want to say that I do not hate your team. Since I've been making SEC roll call, I have become the worst kind of SEC homer. So you can rest assured that all of this comes from a place of love. And all of my hate is reserved for the Big Ten. Speaking of hate, let's go ahead and give the one team that hardly ever gets any right out of the way. Of course, I'm talking about number 16, the least annoying fan base in the SEC, Vanderbilt. Sure, Vandy fans have talked trash at some point in history. It just always feels wrong. It's kind of like when Hardee's started selling burritos. I mean, they have every right to do that. It just makes the rest of us uncomfortable. So until Vandy can figure out how to clone 10,000 of their whistling baseball boys, the Commodores will probably forever be the least annoying fan base in the SEC. Coming in at number 15, Missouri. Now, when you're constantly having to defend your right to simply exist in this conference, it's hard to be on the offensive. In a lot of ways, Missouri is the Iggy Azalea of the SEC. They don't really sound like the rest of us, and nobody's really thought about them since 2014. And yes, I have gotten some colorful hate mail from Missouri fans, but when you consider the things that I have said about them, you would understand why both their fans get so mad. Up next is our 14th most annoying fan base, which belongs to Mississippi State. Yes, the Cowbells are god-awful, but you gotta give them something to be excited about. When Walmart started closing at 11 p.m., that effectively ended nightlife in Starkville. And their football program does not have a winning record against any SEC team. Things are bleak for State fans, but they can still muster up enough hate for Ole Miss in any legislation banning squatted trucks. But most of the conference now has a little bit of a soft spot for Mississippi State, thanks to the late great Mike Leach. And that man didn't hate nothing but candy corn. At lucky number 13 is Arkansas, which is ironic because neither the number 13 or Arkansas have any luck at all. The Hogs saved the bulk of their annoyingness for their main rival, LSU, and in turn, LSU forgets they exist. That's partly due to the alcohol poisoning, but also because their annual battle for the Golden Boot is no longer held the Friday after Thanksgiving. And while the swine do love to whine, you gotta admit, the Hogs have been disrespected by conference officials, so when they complain really loud about something, you kinda wanna hear them out, especially after that spike fumble game against Auburn in 2020. Arkansas fans may occasionally be annoying, but they usually know it. And that level of self-awareness can really only come after serious introspection brought on by repeated fourth quarter heartbreak, or therapy. The real kind, not just, yelling at Feinbaum. In the 12th spot is Kentucky. If this video were exclusively about basketball fans, you wouldn't have even clicked on this video. You know Kentucky is carrying, even though technically that would be their first championship in anything basketball related in over a decade. But by God, they'd probably still hang a banner for it. But when it comes to football, they play on Kroger Field. When other fans in this conference enter their stadium, they look up to see the names of gridiron greats etched forever on the Coliseum walls. Kentucky fans get access to the Kroger VIP tailgate when they spend $35 or more on groceries the week of the game. So it is annoying that you don't care more. How dare you not tie your mental health to the outcome of a game decided by a bunch of 19-year-olds that don't even know you exist? This is the SEC, damn it! Coming in at number 11 is Oklahoma. The new guys didn't really give the SEC a whole lot in their first season, both in terms of annoyingness and offensive production. But we've noticed that they've stopped trying to work Baker Mayfield into every conversation, and gone are the days of saying they want to fire Bob Stoops after losing just 2 games. And the overwhelming majority of complaints that I get from their fans about roll call is that they don't like the bucket hat. But we can tell that there is something deep down there just waiting to bubble to the surface once Oklahoma figures out what it means when we say it just means more. Pass protection. It just means more pass protection. Dear God, y'all cannot give up 9 sacks to South Carolina and expect to win in this conference. Ain't no Iowa State here. Rounding out our top 10 is Auburn. You have to understand, Auburn fans have been through a lot. And most of it is self-inflicted. Are they crazy? Yes. Yes, they are. But you would be too if your in-state rival just wrapped up probably the greatest run in sports history, or you spent half of your last championship season having to listen to the media question whether or not your quarterback was even eligible to play. But despite all that adversity, Auburn fans can still muster up an elite level of annoyingness to do something like roll Toomer's corner after Alabama loses the national championship game against Clemson. They weren't even playing in that game. That is next level petty. Oh, this is also the only fan base to ever send me a death threat. So that's fun. Coming in at number 9 is a different but lovable kind of crazy called South Carolina. They are loud. They have been playing the exact same Eurodance song on repeat at max volume for almost 2 decades now. And their obsession with Cox jokes has stunted their humor at a 7th grade level. Are they annoying? Yes. But it's always wrapped up in this unique kind of crazy that South Carolina has. It's like they're blissfully unaware of how they sound to the rest of the college football world. They will loudly claim that the refs robbed them. Not once, but every time they lose. And then they are aghast when we don't believe them. They carry themselves like an elite tier program, mostly because they have experienced a moderate amount of success in the SEC, thanks to Steve Spurrier giving them just a whiff of greatness, and easily the greatest photograph ever taken in a Hoover, Alabama Arby's. But those days are gone. And the last time they saw their current coach end the season with a win, he got doused with a jug of Duke's Mayo. And they, of course, took that as a sign of national momentum. But that is what fuels the crazy. South Carolina fans genuinely believe that they can win every game. And it's hard not to admire that irresponsible level of optimism. It's just like they say, you can't keep a good cock down. Golly, this video is not getting monetized at all. Y'all better go buy some shirts. Finding themselves squarely in the middle of annoyingness in the SEC is number 8, Ole Miss. No fan base is more Jekyll and Hyde than the Rebels. When they're winning, they're going to crank that annoyingness all the way up, untuck their expensive Peter Millar shirts, and do some borderline misdemeanor level taunting. But when they lose, they hide faster than Joey Freshwater can delete his Tinder profile. In my experience with these Mississippi fan bases, I've learned that Mississippi State fans are the type of people that will pull over and help you change a tire on the side of the road. Ole Miss fans are the type of people that sold you that car and knew the tire was flat because they put a hole in it once they found out that you root for literally any team other than Ole Miss. They are the quintessential bless your heart and not in the good way fan base. But with that same level of passion, Ole Miss fans will invite you into their intricately designed tailgates and exercise to perfection the Southern art of hospitality. And then when you leave, they'll exercise the Southern tradition of talking about you behind your back. The 7th most annoying fan base in the SEC belongs to Texas A&M. Now, I'm sure that Longhorn fans are already tip-tapping on their cowhide-covered Texas-shaped keyboards that A&M should be number 1, but here's the thing. They don't hate the rest of us like they hate you. When Texas A&M left the Big 12 to join the SEC, it was like a messy breakup. Both of y'all acted like you were happy to get rid of each other, but you still would not shut up about each other. And now, you're back together. And nothing has changed. You're both still toxic, and neither one of y'all are following the unwritten rule of the SEC, which is that you must equally spread that hate around. You're allowed to love your team, tolerate maybe 1 or 2 others, but root for the immediate and total collapse of literally every other program in the SEC. So yeah, what I'm saying is it's annoying that y'all don't hate us more. Sliding into 6th place is Florida. Loud, entitled, aggressive, and that's usually just with each other. Something changed in the fan base after 1996, and it got kicked into high gear after that miraculous run that Urban Meyer and Billy Donovan took them on almost 20 years ago. Now Gator fans expect to be in the national title hunt every single year, and when they inevitably fall short of those expectations, they don't do like other fan bases. Florida fans do not go into hiding. Hell, half the time, they don't even wait for the downfall. Less than 1 day after Florida hired Ron Zook, a Florida fan launched a website called fireronzook.com. A day. The man hadn't even seen his office yet. And now we've arrived at our top 5, which unlike the other half of the top 10, these teams are fully aware of how annoying they are. They just don't care what you think. And that begins with number 5, Georgia. No one has climbed the rankings of actual football teams, annoyingness, and most wanted by the Georgia State Patrol than the Dogs. Yes, pre-Kirby Smart Georgia fans were still annoying because I'm not sure if you're aware of this little tradition they have, but they like to bark at you. And I'm not talking about a cute little woof woof either. The kind of bark that makes you question if this grown man in khakis is about to bite you. He might. And that is what has propelled Georgia back into the top 5. There's a tenacity and momentum here that is unmatched currently in the SEC. And if those Dogs pick up another ring soon, you should probably just go ahead and get a rabies shot. Just play it safe. Taking the title of the 4th most annoying fan base in the SEC is LSU. How do I put this? Tiger fans are built different. Regardless of their record, or your record, or if it's even football season, LSU fans do not hold back. They're the only team in the SEC that has elevated hate to an art form. And I know this for a fact because as long as you're not on the receiving end, it is a hoot to watch. The rest of this conference has little cheers that can honestly be a little edgy sometimes for the Bible Belt. Give them hell, Alabama. Kick them in the butt, Big Blue. Meanwhile, it's not that uncommon to go into Baton Rouge and hear a chorus of children sing to you, "F that Tiger." And in 3rd place is Tennessee. Tennessee fans are what happens when you give babies Mountain Dew. The energy that these people can channel once a single thread of that freezer-burned creamsicle orange hits their body should be studied. I swear, Tennessee fans treat orange clothes like they're infinity stones. If you ever see a Vol fan in the wild wearing Tennessee orange hat, shirt, pants, belt, socks, shoes, you better not say one bad thing about Rocky Top. Tennessee fans are born ready to defend old Rocky Top, and you better not even think about telling them that their traditions are not that impressive. Oh, watch us split the tee. Yeah, that's cool that y'all can move over. Want to see how far I can throw this trash on the field? No, we don't. We're going to checkerboard your whole stadium. Cool. Listen, Vol fans, this all comes from a place of love, because I tell you right now, I get a lot of messages from people all over the world who say that they've fallen in love with college football and they ask me what team they should root for. And I tell them every time, Tennessee. Not to be funny. If I wanted to do that, I'd tell them Kentucky. Because win or lose, rain or shine, Tennessee fans bring the same level of intensity to every game because they spend every waking minute loving college football. And they are awake a lot. Mountain Dew does make it very hard for them to sleep. Which brings us to the 2nd most annoying fan base in the SEC and the most recent to throw trash on their own field, Texas. Texas fans will be simultaneously upset that I call them annoying and that they're not ranked number 1 in something. Texas came into this conference with a reputation. They demand the reverence of Notre Dame, the press coverage of Alabama, and the dominance of a Michigan team that already knows the play you're about to run. When the conferences started signing TV agreements to make their own networks, Texas made their own, even though the programming was sometimes just a live stream of a Longhorn. So yeah, they just put a screensaver on TV. But that wasn't a mistake. Texas fans would rather watch cattle graze than spend a second of their time watching 2 inferior programs battle it out for the right to still not be Texas. And don't even get me started on the whole horns down thing, because the way that it upsets them is hilarious, but also completely aligns with the way this whole conference treats its own culture and traditions. I can sum up Texas culture like this. The biggest complaint that I get from Texas fans in my inbox is because they didn't see their team in the roll call video from 2023. They were not in the SEC. And when I tell them this, they still don't care. And finally, the most annoying fan base in the SEC belongs to Alabama. If it wasn't bad enough watching your team repeatedly lose to Alabama, the fans made it so much worse by complaining that they weren't beating you by enough. Now, Bama fans weren't always like this. You can thank Mike DeBose, Dennis Franchione, and Mike Shula for the way they are now. A decade-long championship route while simultaneously getting their ass kicked by Auburn 6 straight years broke them. So when Saban came in and almost immediately turned the ship around, Tide fans did not politely ask for their seat at the throne back. They went full Game of Thrones red wedding on everyone. They relished the opportunity to prove that you, in fact, do not want Bama. And in Saban's 17 seasons at Alabama, the Tide only lost 11 times on the road. So yes, it was a big deal when a team could pull off the upset at home. And when those fans would almost certainly rush the field, Bama fans love to pull out their favorite post-loss line. When you beat Alabama, that becomes one of the biggest wins in your program's history. But when Bama beats you, that's just another Saturday. That's a cold line, I'm not gonna lie. The fact is, no team annoys the rest of the SEC and the college football world more than Bama. But no team has ever been able to walk the walk and talk the talk like Bama. They helped lift the whole conference to a level that college football had never seen before and never wants to see again. Now, I'm not saying that the SEC's run is over. I'm just saying that it's currently not at its peak. But rest assured, the SEC will be back on top. And just remember that our intensity and passion is like an heirloom blanket that we had no choice but to inherit. And we can't wait to smother you to death with it.